Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Jeanette.
I'm Amanda.
And tonight we're going to talk about 911 and the resident. But we're going to talk 911 first. This episode, this is a good episode.
It was.
It cracked me up. This is episode 4 of the new season. And when it opened up though, the first scene, what exactly, I think that guy said, I think curiosity killed the bird watcher. I mean, that guy cracked me up.
He did.
Like, what is he doing?
He's just sitting there with his snacks, swinging his little legs,
Such
spying on the people. I was like, how creepy are you?
Yeah, I was like, oh.
I honestly thought this was going to go a different way. I watched too much, I guess, murder mystery shows. Yeah. I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
We got the crazy stalker.
Yeah.
That's not how it went.
So crazy though.
I didn't know trees could do that. And I'm wondering if they can or not. Is that something they just did for the show? Or can the tree really I guess technically I guess it could.
I mean, I feel like all of these calls or almost all of them are real things that have happened somewhere. So yeah, I bet this can happen. I mean, I'm sure it's super rare. But I don't know. I was like, well, remind me if a tree's ever fallen over to get nowhere near the bottom of it, because now I'm terrified of this.
Yeah, no, I would have never thought that would be a dangerous place because the tree's over, it's just, I would never, you would just never think that. But that the creepy park ranger was like, no, it's not safe there. It's this, he knew this about it, which kind of confused me because I was like, has this happened before?
I mean, I guess you would think though, if it was truly unsafe and you've had a tree fall, maybe you should rope it off or something, so that people can't
cut the roots, cut it down. I mean, it's already, it's gonna die anyways. It's not gonna.
Oh,
it's not like you're murdering the tree. It's
fallen. It's yeah, exactly. But I mean, that was that was one of them, and that I don't know, all of that. I loved also the part after they got the guy rescued and then finds out it's her brother, it's not her boyfriend, and he legit hits on her.
I know. Are you hitting on me?
Even Buck and Eddie were looking at him like,
no, dude,
not the time, bud. It's not the time. But I guess horrible. He's shooting a shot, go for it, I guess, but it didn't work out for him.
Good.
Exactly.
She my god. Steered away from I don't care what anybody says. That guy has issues.
It was weird. Yeah, it was really weird.
So we also, my favorite, and this was in the previews last week, and I was so looking forward to this call. As soon as Chim went to go get on the other side of the car, I was like, ooh, here it is. Because I couldn't remember what the guy looked like in the previews that took off. So as soon as he went to the other side of the car, I was like, oh yes, here it's coming. And it was many
good things
so glorious.
I mean, just Chim's face, oh my god, he's trying to get his seatbelt on, he can't get it, and then Buck jumps on that bicycle, and I was like, God, I love Buck. I mean,
I died laughing. I was like, what are you going to do on the bike?
But that's what I love about Buck. He has no plan, but you know what? He was going to save Chim, and it didn't matter. He just jumped into action, and I love that about him so much.
I mean, it worked.
It did work. He was shocked too.
I didn't think it was going to work, but it worked. Nervous. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of smart because he can cut through everywhere. He didn't have to stay on the road.
Yeah, I mean, he got there in front of it, so. But Chim was so good too, just the way he talked them down.
Yeah.
He's so good at that. And he was calming the guy down. I feel like he knew exactly what to say to kind of pull the guy back to consciousness of what's going on here. You don't want to do this, this is too much.
Yeah. I that one part at the very end where he's going, where he says, well, first you're going to the hospital and then to prison. Yes, prison.
Yeah.
Going to prison.
I mean, the guy, like, I mean, even before Chim hopped in the car, I mean, he'd already caused like what was like a 5-car pileup, and that poor guy on the bike, like, he'd caused so much damage already.
But I want to know what type of, like, I want to go back and see what type of bike that was, because that thing looked in perfect condition and that guy did not look like in perfect condition.
Well, didn't Eddie say something about like
Yeah, it's like
about the bike?
it's
Yeah.
a special bike. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I kind of want to look this bike up now. Like,
Right.
how many of thousands of dollars is this bike?
Oh, probably so much,
But
right?
I think it's worth it if
Absolutely. Absolutely. That next call though, that one was like not as
oh my gosh. My anxiety was so high during this call.
Mhm.
I knew something was up almost immediately. And again, I think it's because of shows I watch. I was like, this looks kind of weird.
Mhm.
Like, this is kind of a weird interaction.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem like in place or normal or anything like that. I don't think that's how they meant to film it either. I think that's
Mhm.
just me expecting something to happen now.
I mean, it was pretty intense though. Like, I
It
mean, even
was.
just with, how it happened. But like, I mean, of all people to get that call, like, thank God it was Maddie. I
I
mean,
know.
you could tell, oh man, like I got a little emotional watching that, just thinking about like all that she's been through and
Yep.
but she was a perfect person to,
She was a perfect person to get that call. And
Mhm.
of course, she handled it in true Maddie fashion.
Mhm.
But the other 911 operator
Yeah.
also was brilliant as well,
Mhm.
which I think I'm going to like him. I think I like
Yeah,
this guy.
I
And
think so too.
I hope he's our he sticks around, because I think Maisco might be gone.
Yeah, I think she is. The part though that like, what was it like when Maddie had to tell the little girl like, you have to let him take you? I was like, oh my
Oh my
God,
gosh.
no.
Did that not just break your heart? And I was like, why are you telling her that?
But
Which,
I mean, it was the
right
right
info.
advice though. I
It
mean,
was the
like,
right thing.
yeah,
This is
because
why I'm not a 911 operator.
yeah. Well, because I mean, like she's been in that situation and she understands
Mm-hmm.
that, you're probably in less danger if you go along with it because she knew she was sending help. So she knew the help would get there. She just didn't want anything bad to happen to the little girl in the meantime.
Yeah.
So the
But
little girl, she fought back though. And I mean, it worked out in her favor. I mean, I was really proud of her.
she scared me though when she started fighting back. I was like, aren't you supposed to be like going with the flow
I
here,
know.
girl? Like, what are
I
you
know.
doing? Calm down.
Yeah.
But she's a little girl and she sees her mother
Yeah.
bleeding on the floor. I mean, I didn't expect her to hold it together or
Yeah.
anything. She was a child.
Mm.
So that was just
Yeah.
so heartbreaking.
Mhm.
But it ended happily,
Mhm.
I guess. I mean,
I think it's going to. I
it's
mean,
still
because
not happy, but
I mean, it will be happy. I
it
think
will be, I think.
we're
I think
heading
we'll
in
have a
that
good
direction.
outcome. I
Yeah,
wonder if
because I
we'll get
mean,
an update.
I hope so. Because and I love that Maddie's the kind of person that like didn't let it just end there. I mean, that
Yeah.
she, called somebody to like help her and like get her, her immigration status taken care of. So she's not dependent on this person, like, and not having to be in fear of losing her daughter and her daughter, which I mean, now I guess she wouldn't go with him, because of he's in jail. Well, you hope. I mean,
We've heard of worse things happening. I
yeah,
mean,
unfortunately, that system's really broken. So,
yeah,
but I
but
think it's going to end well.
I would hope not. And I think this is a very good attorney.
Hmm.
I don't think Maddie would have put her with anybody that wasn't adequate to get this actually done. So
Exactly.
I think we'll have a very good outcome. At least like give me like an update in passing or something and be like, hey, she's like got
Yeah.
her papers or something. Like that would be like,
Yeah. Something just to
if
let us know it
anybody's
worked out.
listening to this, please let me know how that story ends. I know it's not real, but I still want to know.
Give us an update, please.
I'm invested. Oh, so the next story is actually ended up being my favorite one.
We loved it with
At the
Hoover.
sorority house.
Mm.
I did not think it would be Bobby. taking the dog home.
You know what? I normally I wouldn't, but he was complaining in the episode about how quiet the house was without Athena, and now both kids are gone. So when they like carried the dog out of there, I thought Hoover's going home with Bobby. It's gonna happen.
Hoover, like the vacuum, or Athena.
But I mean, like I was that stressed me for a minute though, because I'm thinking, oh my God, like please save the dog. Please save the dog.
I just want to know who called 911
Right?
for the dog.
And what did you tell 911? That like he's overdosed? I mean, is
They
that all
just
that
said
you
somebody
said?
overdosed.
It's not somebody though, guys. It's a dog. I mean, I'm glad they did because
I mean, they
Hoover's
ended up
a
saving
minor.
him,
Yeah.
but in the real world, you should not use up 911's what where I'm
Resources for the dog.
resources. Thank you. You cannot use 911's resources
No.
for a dog. I'm sorry. That's what they do have emergency vets.
I know.
That's what those
I
are
sure
for.
do love my dogs. So.
I would not put it past me to call 911 for one of my animals. I can sit here and preach all I want on here, but I would probably do the same. I'd be like, is there, I mean, I would call 911 and be like, is there a 911 for dogs?
Yeah, there should be. You know what? There should be like an easy number that we could call and get a hold of, like whoever our emergency vet is. Because I don't know that. I'd have to look it up. And what if that's too much time?
Yeah.
We
I mean,
need
there's a lot around
911.
us, but like, have like a team of them at least.
Yeah.
That, they could make house calls. They
Because I'm
could.
in a small town. I don't know that we have a whole lot of them.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Oh.
I'm not doing it because.
Well, no, I can't do it, but
somebody
someone
out there
should do it.
I wonder if that was a pain in the butt.
Though, like without, Hen. I loved how they were like, who would know this? Hen would know.
And would know.
And of course she did. And she saved the day. And little Hoover.
That was so cute. But Hen cracked me up this episode. She was the one that I was like, man, you know what? If I had a house completely to myself and I didn't have to like do any kind of work, and I'd be so like content, like
yes,
sitting down watching a show or reading a book. And
I was like, girl, sit
quiet.
down and watch some TV. Like, but I mean, I guess with her lifestyle being so much more,
not everybody's like us.
I enjoy my TV. Clearly, that's what this podcast is about because we all enjoy our TV and couch potatoes. So lucky for you all, we do. So we can like tell you all about this. But that's what I was thinking. Like while she was doing that, I'm like, girl, your house is clean. Just sit down and relax.
I know.
No one's home. Like just chill. Buck shows up though.
Oh,
entertainer.
My goodness.
She was so excited to see him. Get in here. When else have you seen Hen be excited to see Buck? Like,
I know.
Probably never.
She was super excited. And then they get drunk together.
And that was so funny.
And of course, that's when they call about the dog. Are you guys drunk?
And Buck's, yes.
Yes. But I like that they still just take her word on her calculations, even when she's drunk.
She was right. Like she did it. No problem.
I feel like even I would be like, can you tell me let me like type it in on my phone and make sure it's correct.
She knew. And I mean, that's what gave her the boost though. Like the confidence to go back to that professor and be like, no, I deserve another chance. Like I'm meant to do this, which this storyline makes me a little sad because if she actually like passes this, like she goes on to
where
be
is
a
she
doctor,
going?
right? Like she won't be, she can't be a paramedic and a doctor.
Maybe she can go to Chastain.
Well, that's in Atlanta, so it's a little far away.
But then we still see her, and
I know it's quite the commute, though, don't you think?
Karen can move there too, and be a counselor.
Maybe we could just like expand the show, like to where we like get to see like more stuff like happen once they actually take them to the hospital. You can just expand.
Yeah, I doubt they will, but
no, but
anything.
Nice.
I don't know. Something's gonna have to happen. Either I don't know if they're like ramping up to take her off. I mean, or
yeah.
if she's going to stick around. Maybe she'll have a doctorate and I don't know.
I mean, because you can't, why would you go to med school if you're not going to actually be a doctor? Like, and you can't
There's nothing like EMT wise where you need a doctorate. So I don't know.
So we're just going to lose her, I guess. I don't know. Just weird.
I think so. It's just
I wish her the best, but
not me. I'll be mad.
No.
I love Hen.
I do too. I think it'd be tough.
No, I'm actually really excited. She doesn't have to take another year of those classes, though.
Yes.
The professor was really nice. Like, I feel like that would be almost unheard of.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Yeah.
Like, that would be.
I don't know, though. I bet a lot of people, when you're in medical school, they expect you to not be working and doing all these other things. They expect you to be focusing on. It's the same with law school.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of law schools, like, for a certain period of time, you can't have another job. Like, you're not allowed. So
you got to concentrate on that, not only.
Yeah.
Which I feel like medical school would be a full-time job.
Yes.
And that's what it crossed my mind, but I let it go really fast. It irritated me for like 10 seconds. And then I was like, I'm just going to let it go. It's for the show. It's supposed to be like this whole thing of her being bored. It's supposed to be like comedy, and I get it. So I let it go. But I was like, she's like, I don't have any tests to study for. And I'm like, don't you have 1,000 other things you could be studying though?
Yeah.
Like,
you would think so.
How like super stressed and so busy she was like the last week. And then this week she's just sitting there twiddling her thumbs or reorganizing the books. It seemed a little bit weird.
Yeah. I'm sure it was for comedic purposes.
I think it was for comedic purposes, and I'm here for it. It was funny. It made me laugh. So
yeah, it did.
All I get to care for. That's why I said, I was like, I let it go pretty fast. But it did cross my mind.
Yeah.
But I think my whole thing with the Hen story line was Buck coming over there and them getting drunk. That was the best sound.
Well, and I mean, she gave him, he had some big life choices that he needed to talk to.
I'm excited for this.
I'm not.
I think he'll be fine.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing. Okay. Like, yes, we have the same storyline happening on Station 19 with Jack, which I'm all for. And I think the difference is because I think Buck and Jack are very similar characters in their personality. I would say, but the difference is, like with Jack on Station 19, Maya and Karina are welcoming him as to be a part of this. Whereas, like, once the child is born, I think he is going to be, he's not dad necessarily, but he's going to be Uncle Jack, or he's going to be a part of that child's life. I get the impression that Buck probably will not be. And I think what Hen was saying to him about, can you just not be a father? And I don't think he can, because we see how he is, like, around like Eddie and Christopher. Like, I think Buck, he cares too much. So I think the idea of him knowing that he has a child out there that he can't be a part of their life, especially since he had a crappy like childhood growing up too, and parents that didn't really, I think it's going to mess with his head. And I think it's just going to cause him more sadness and trouble. And I'm really tired of Buck being sad. So I'm not here for this storyline.
No, I wasn't really for it. But after his talk with them, it kind of made me feel a little bit better about it. I mean, Hen laid it out. She's like, you're going to receive Christmas cards from these people. Like, you're going to see this child like kind of grow up from afar.
Yeah.
Or are you going to be able to handle that? And I feel like it's not like none of this is going to be a surprise to him. Hen pretty much laid it out of how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And he still wants to do it. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I'm also mad because, like, I feel like Buck as a father and a little mini Buck would be the best thing ever on my screen. And so you're telling me that I'm not going to get to see it? Like, I don't like that. I want to see that.
It's 911. Who knows? We might be able to see it.
And maybe this will lead him into realizing, like, that this is something that he wants out of his life, like, is to be with someone, fully settle down, start a family. Because I think he was already moving towards that anyways. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe when Lucy comes back.
I hope so. Although I'm not sure that she's the family type. So, not sure if that'll work out. She doesn't seem like she's at that stage in her life.
I don't know if a lot of people like her with Buck in the fandom world.
I don't think they do. Well, that's because everybody in the fandom world wants Eddie and Buck to be a family. Telling you it's out there.
I know it's a huge thing. I will never get behind this, and it's nothing. I
would get behind it if they did it, but I'm not rooting for it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like.
I just love their friendship, though.
Yeah,
and
that's true too.
I don't want it to be turned into a relationship, because relationships comes drama, comes fighting, comes, and I don't want to deal with that with Buck and Eddie. I love their friendship. I love how they always get along. I love their banter back and forth. Like, that's good for me. Keep it like that. Yeah, I'm good. And let them find women who, or partners, whatever, who, will magnify all their great attributes as is. So, yes. Stop trying to put them together, everybody.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I don't have any, I'm not hooked on Lucy and Buck being together. No. I think they would be kind of cute. I think I could grow to like them together. I don't like Taylor. I have not liked Taylor from day one.
I did. And so that really bugged me that they I don't now, because I feel like we see that it just would never work. But I was a big fan. So
I never was. Since the very beginning, I didn't like her. I feel like she was, and she is, she's very career driven, which is not a bad thing. But with all the information that Buck gets and pillow talks and brings home, I don't think they're a good match.
No, I agree now.
Like, she made a big boo-boo that I don't think I can forgive.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But like I said, I was never Team Taylor, so it really wasn't too hard of a push for me.
It was for a while.
I was like, ooh, look, good reason. I'm out.
I just want him to find happiness.
Me too. I want Eddie and Buck both to find happiness.
I want Eddie to find it too. Because I feel like, especially after this week, Eddie could use just someone else to be there in the trenches. A
partner.
Yeah.
He needs a partner to honestly help him raise Christopher. Christopher's getting older now. He is, like we saw this week, trying to grow up. He's gonna have to let him grow up.
Yeah.
But that's so scary, really, the hours that he works, and being a single dad. I can't imagine how hard this is. And he's such a good dad. The whole cereal thing just made me melt.
Yes.
I was like,
this whole episode, I felt so much for him. And maybe it's because Elena turned 11 this week, and so I'm feeling what he's feeling right now, that they're growing up and they're wanting independence and they're wanting to grow into this person that they want to be, but it's hard to let that go.
It is.
And especially I think Eddie, especially with Christopher having some special needs, I think he does worry about him. But
when he has
Christopher's, he's showing that he needs some space, and he needs some, to let, loosen the leash just a little bit.
Yeah. Because Christopher's now lying to him, which almost
not okay.
It's not okay. And it really kind of broke my heart, because I was I was a disappointed parent. I'm and I just wanted to go through the screen and say, do you know how unsafe that is?
I know.
Going to the park, not telling anybody where you're going, and skipping where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Did I do it when I was younger? Yeah.
Oh, we all did. Yeah.
But nowadays, I'm sorry, it's even more dangerous nowadays.
It is.
You don't want to take things away and not have them experience these things that are great for learning and growing up. And say Christopher Science Club, my first question would be why are you skipping Science Club? Is there something going on in Science Club?
Yeah.
Do you not like it anymore?
Right.
But also you got to have the open conversation with them, with saying, you should have come to me first, like you did, and talk to me about it, and not go gallivanting around the town by yourself. Like,
especially, I mean, you guys live in LA. Jeez.
Yeah.
Like,
can you imagine your child, your like
no
preteen child going to an LA park?
No.
No.
No. No, there's no
There
way.
would be no way. I wouldn't let mine in my little suburbia town. No.
Exactly. I mean, I live in a town of, 8,000 people, so
unless it's like within like a very close walking distance to my house. No.
But Eddie's dad, like of all people, like he gave like great advice and he's what really helped him through this. I loved seeing that too.
I did too. We don't see that very often. But I did love that little touch.
And I think it was handled perfectly that, just like his dad said, like he wants to be trusted. So like you're gonna have to give him the opportunity to like earn that trust from you. And I think that's what's, he's gonna do. I mean, but I like that Eddie also stuck to like the punishment too. Like there was like I feel like it was the perfect balance.
Yeah.
It made me like love him even more. Like, ladies, snatch him up. Like he is like the perfect man. Do it.
I don't understand how he's still single. I mean, like
it's gotta be the hours they work, right? Because him and Buck, neither one should be alone. Like they're both kind of.
I mean, if Chris is off work, where is he?
Right.
He's at home with his kid.
Yeah.
Or sleeping. Or
he just
taking care of adult things. Like he's not like out clubbing, partying, meeting people, probably even going to many restaurants. Like he just.
They need to get on a dating app or something. Come on, can you imagine the hot firefighters on a dating app? I mean, it would be like going crazy.
We should make an app specifically for that.
Right? Can I get on and just look at it? I mean, I'm married as can be, but like,
there'll be no swiping for me, but
just
I can browse.
Take a look, yeah. Just want to see.
But I felt bad. I felt a little bit bad for Chris because I do understand. Eddie does baby him.
He does.
He really does, which again, as a parent, I understand.
I get it.
And really, if I was a parent to a special needs child I've kind of had to baby,
Yes. Yeah.
That would be really hard to like back off of it just like all of a sudden.
Yeah. But maybe, I mean, like, I don't know. And maybe in those instances, you almost have to, even more so because you need to let them build that independence and be able to do these things for themselves because one day they're gonna need to. And so I mean, like all of our kids, but I mean, I don't know, I get it. I baby my kids too, so
yeah,
I understood.
I get I do, I totally get it. So next week does not look good for Maddie.
And I was a little confused by this preview, trying to figure out exactly what. So like there's like bunch of things happening and they're tracing it all back to like 911 calls, right? And all of the 911 calls were taken by her. So I'm trying to figure out like exactly how, like, what does that mean? Like, how did someone like going back? Like my first thought was, here we like this new guy, right? Are we sure it's not going to be like him doing so? I hope not. But like at the same time, like
I didn't think about that, but that's a good. I mean, we don't know really anything about him. We don't know anything about him. He's going to be suspect number one now.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like maybe, hopefully not. Hopefully it's just somebody random that we don't know anything about.
Fingers crossed, man.
But somebody definitely looks like they're doing something to set her up because obviously we know Maddie's not doing anything. So I mean, it's got to be somebody else doing something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. All right. Well, that is it for 911 for this week. And we are going to move on to The Resident and welcome in Maureen.
Hello.
It's like she
always comes in so lovely.
I know. Right? So we get a lot of Gigi time this week, which was
delightful.
So delightful.
Yes.
I loved it. I love it anytime we get Gigi time. She's a little possessive over Conrad.
I don't think it was really so much that. I think she was just nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, who could blame her?
I love watching those two together. Their relationship is so adorable.
I know. And I love that he took off work to help her with this. That was, just melt my heart.
I love that he took off work to give her tough love and then basically played with her all day.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Our definition of tough love is not the same, my man.
No.
Can you imagine Conrad taking a day off to play with a kid during season 1?
Yes.
Well, maybe.
If it's his, 100%.
Just because of think about how he was with like that one little guy that like was in. I mean, they set up that whole like. I don't know. I could see it.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Gigi's just made him so soft.
How
in a good way.
Yeah.
That kid has made the entire fandom for the Resident soft.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's so adorable. When she was doing that whole like being sick, it cracked me up because I want you to know that's what my Shelby does. Like she'll be like, I'm sick. I'm like, you're not like actually at all, by the way. Like it made me laugh so hard.
Did anyone else love the Ferris Bueller reference?
Yes.
Bringing it back. Let's do it.
Yes.
Loved it.
That was great. I don't think she got it all, but I laughed.
And then Conrad did his thing reminded me of Karate Kid. Like, bringing back all my favorites right now, Conrad.
Grandmaster Hawkins was pretty awesome. I have to.
As if Conrad couldn't get any better. Like, let's just keep heaping things on this.
Yeah, let's just make him the cutest dad in the world.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, like, poor little Gigi, so scared or like nervous about her belt ceremony. I was like, oh, that poor baby.
Yeah, I think she was mostly just scared about breaking the board.
Mm-hmm.
No, she said she couldn't do it, and the other kids laughed at her, and she didn't want to do it again.
I know, that broke my heart.
I wanted to punch every one of those kids who laughed at her.
Exactly.
No,
it was so
sad. It seriously just broke my heart. My poor little Gigi.
For the record, I'm not a violent person by nature anymore. Just want to throw that up. I used to be. I'm not anymore. So just for any of our listeners, I don't really want to throat punch kids. That's not really what my aim is here.
But when kids are mean to other cute little sweet children like Gigi, I think I mean it's kind of deserved. So it's okay.
What did she do to Conrad's finger? Because it was when she hit the popsicle stick board. What happened? I thought he was faking it at first, but then he showed up with the splint.
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those like cheesy scenes. I don't think she really did. I mean, because she just kind of like, I
know, but he was wearing the splint like at the ceremony.
I know. So I mean, I think supposedly she hurt his finger, but the scene did not play out.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. It was that's how they played it. Okay.
No, I had the same question too. I thought I had missed something.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those.
Okay.
That, a little cheesy, but it was fine. It was cute,
No, it was.
It worked out. But him at the like ceremony filming,
looked like such a dad.
Everything about this episode, like as far as like Gigi and Conrad went, was like perfection. Like I loved so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he was literally struggling at that match to decide between applauding her or filming her, and he could not. There was a point he was filming and then he put it on his phone, and then he picked up his phone and then he put down his phone and then he started laughing and then he picked up his phone. Like, I love you.
Yeah, that's how
you are every parent in the world right now.
Yeah.
Yep. I've gotten pretty good at the leg clap.
Yeah, I was doing that today at the volleyball game.
Yeah, that's what I do.
You gotta do both sometimes.
But then when she did it and he stood up and he was like, yeah, Gigi, like
so
he like
proud.
He got into it, and he the way he shouted out there was like, oh, can you be my dad? Don't. I meant that honestly and literally.
I'd rather him be my baby's dad, but that's just me.
He could be my baby daddy any day. Sorry, I had to.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
He was a great grandmaster
when that came out of your mouth.
I didn't until the moment it came out of my mouth.
I had to say it.
If you say Conrad and dad in the same sentence, I cannot be held responsible for my thoughts. It is what it is.
I did like when Gigi was like, you don't know Taekwondo. But one of them was pronouncing it weird. I don't remember if it was Gigi or if it was
Gigi.
It was Gigi. Taekwondo.
Yeah. Taekwondo. Which was so cute.
And it was like, I hope that this kid actually does this in real life and we actually get to see her like for real do Taekwondo. I don't think she does, but it was still cute how it played out. And so he is a great dad. And I think this episode, seeing them together, I think I missed Gigi the last couple episodes. I do miss her when she's not on.
Yeah.
And not like a weird, creepy, obsessed way. I think she brings the show a lighter side that I think it needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I enjoy seeing
She
her on it.
does. Yeah, because I like seeing
Absolutely.
like outside the hospital. Like I like seeing kind of their personal lives. And I mean, Conrad, we got Dad of the Year versus Ian.
Not so much.
Sorry, Maureen, but not so much.
No, he doesn't hold my affection anymore.
I was worried about this episode. I was like, if Maureen still likes him, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
No.
Because Andrew McCarthy or not, Ian Sullivan can go. I'm over it.
I even like Kate a little bit more in this episode because of Ian.
I felt sorry for her during one piece of this.
It was when he said, do you have any idea what it does to a man having a daughter like you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
that's terrible.
Oh my gosh. I don't care who you are. You don't get to speak to people like that. It's certainly not your children.
Now, the only if next episode, which I think he's too cocky for this, I don't think he will, because I understand he was going through withdrawals, and we saw that other we understood in this episode that that can bring out a side of you that's not normal.
Yeah.
So okay, I need him next episode to officially apologize to her for saying those words. Like, it needs to be a good one, or no, which I don't think he will, but.
And what's crazy is that when she was talking, I need to remember what this new surgery, because she's a surgery resident, but she's walking around with all the doctors. So is she surgery or is she medicinal? I don't know what she is.
I think no, she was a surgery.
She scrubbed in with AJ. Remember, she was like, oh, for the record, I'm a Virgo or something like that. And AJ was like, what? So she scrubbed in with him.
Yeah, she did.
But then she followed Kate around this entire episode. So I don't know what her role is. They never clearly, I thought she was surgery, but they never really clearly made it clear, because this week she was something else. Anyway, I need to remember her name. But when Kate was trying, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking in my head, when Leela was an intern or whatever she was when she started, a resident, I guess. I feel like she did some time in the ER as well. Am I imagining that?
Surgery stuff, though.
Yeah,
she didn't go around to all the people.
Yeah, that's true.
And just work on regular cases as a doctor. She was a surgical resident, so she was a consult for that. With Ian, when Kate was talking to this resident, whatever department she works in, she was saying, yeah, she's nice now, but wait until she is detoxing. And you prepare yourself for that. Knowing that Cade has gone through this with her father before, she's seen all the signs, she's gone through all the things. Her father just told her the day before, hey, I had a positive test. How are you not going to someone and saying he's using? How are you not doing this right now?
Yeah.
I was frustrated by that with her.
Yeah, I was too.
I think she doesn't know for 100% fact. And I think, I don't know. I don't know if she knows for 100%, because he just took the test. He just passed. So now she's going to be questioning herself.
He hadn't passed until the end of the episode, and they didn't even know if he passed by the end.
That's true.
I think she's hopeful that this is. I think
she's an idiot.
It's a misplaced hope, but I mean, it's your dad, so I can't believe I'm defending Kate. What am I doing? But I really do think she is just hopeful in that. It's because he was so mean to her this episode. I feel like I need to give her a little boost here. Is what's happening. But I think maybe she's just hopeful that. Because she's waiting to see what happens with this test. And I mean, if he he's supposed to not be taking it. And maybe she thinks this is the hump that it'll take to get over it. Yeah. We clearly see that that's not the case.
But she watches him lose his temper. She watches his emotions degrade. She watches him be unfocused and then focused and then unfocused again. She watches him shake. She watches him during all these things. She's seeing every single sign that he's exhibiting of a withdrawal.
But because it's a sign of withdrawal, maybe she's hopeful that he really has stopped because he's got to take this. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know.
But yet he goes in and does a surgery without anybody being told anything about his symptoms.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Even Billy, you should have paid more attention. This is what you're doing is life or death. If somebody is, I love Billy. I didn't have an issue with Billy this episode, but I just thought it was weird that he was clearly telling her, I can't do this, when he was having her do the surgery. And she was like, you need to do it. And he was saying, I can't. The only credit I will give to Ian this episode is he did not want to do any of these surgeries.
Right.
It's the only credit I will give him.
But I think it was more, I don't think he could have done them. And I think that's the only, if he thought he could have like made it through and not let anyone know, I think it was more of an ego, like somebody will know that something's wrong, not necessarily about, not that, I don't think he's a bad guy in the, I mean, I really don't. I mean, addictions, you know, I mean, I understand it's a disease and he's suffering from it. And, you know, I understand that. But like, this should be a wake up call, like, to like want help. And he's not going to. I mean, all he was trying to do the whole episode is get to the test, like, start like popping his pills again.
And like he was planning it. I get that because I mean I was an addict and I remember what it was like to go through those withdrawals where all you wanted to do was vomit all the time. And I remember that. So I get it, but he is in a position where you can't be given that much grace with an addiction. So you don't get it. The lives of other people are in your hands. You don't get that much grace in the situation.
No.
And I think part of him too also thinks the pills make me better, so I can actually save these lives. I think that's how he's rationalizing it.
Yeah.
Which is just, that's what addicts do. They find ways to rationalize and make their addiction okay. Yep. But for him to sit in that bathroom and say just 9 more hours, and then all the pills you want, it was that line that was like, oh boy.
Yeah, that's one really bothered me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you're not even going to attempt to quit.
No, I mean, this is different than Belle in season 1. That was not the same situation. This is even different than we had like Kane being our villain. Like, I mean, he was Eric, he was all these things, but he wasn't like necessarily putting patients
negligent.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this, in my opinion, Ian right now is the biggest villain as far as on the doctor staff that we've ever seen.
Maybe Lane. I don't know. That was a bad one.
I would say Lane is the biggest villain we've ever had.
I forgot about her. It feels like that's been so long. Oh yeah, she's still the worst.
Boy, am I glad I didn't start watching this show in the last year. I'm terrified to do anything. No, I don't know if I need chemo. I'm gonna question you.
Second opinion, please.
Yes. I've seen The Resident.
I watch my medical dramas. I know how you people work. But even with Kane, Kane is his name. I want to call him Cade so bad because we have a Cade right now. But he was a pretty bad villain in that, you know, he did procedures on people even if they wouldn't survive, just so they could be on a vent, just so his stats could stay up. I mean, stuff like that. But the thing with Ian that makes him just slightly better is that he did perform better with the pills. However, it was still uncertain, and you're still putting people's lives. It's like lottery.
It also makes me nervous because of the work that Ian does. I mean, like, you work on like babies.
Yeah.
So like that stresses me out like even more. I mean, like this, I was really nervous this episode that something was going to happen to that baby, and it was going to be his fault.
Me too. I definitely thought the baby was going to die, and I was about to be real mad.
Yeah.
I think the most nervous I was whenever he was holding it in that room when the nurse handed it to him, and he's just like, you can like clearly see him.
Yeah.
So out of it. And I'm like, he is about to fall with that baby. Like you as a doctor, as a person, you wouldn't think to hold a baby when you're feeling like that.
Yeah.
No.
He could have easily told the nurse, like, I need to sanitize my hands before I hold her, like, and then got out of it somehow.
Why didn't you just simply say you weren't feeling well that day?
I know. I think maybe because he would think people
would
think he was withdrawing.
I mean, but like, he works in a hospital. I mean, there's tons of germs probably floating around this place. So like, I feel like a legit excuse would be that you're not feeling well. You might be coming down with something, like.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if I don't know. I mean, if you pass the test, you pass the test. So like, I feel like no one, and everyone thinks he's this prestigious person. Like, I really think that even if he had said he was sick and he passed the test, all would have been forgotten.
I do too. That would have been absolutely. I agree with you. He took a chance that he did not have to take. Well, I mean, the baby might not have. I don't know. I think he's the one who needed to do that surgery, so that's kind of hard. But could the surgery have waited one day? Do we know?
It sounded
I can't remember.
No. Like, Billy was like, "We have to go."
That's right. That's right. Okay. No, it's coming back to me now. I remember that part.
Yeah.
Even in that, the reason he took the pills is because they were saying we need you, and so he took the pills so he could do the surgery. So it's they're making it hard to like, because he's saying these things that make you hate him, but then you're seeing that he wants to do a decent thing, so they're making it so there's still that. I think this is good writing, this episode. I really do, and I think it's
agreed.
I think that's kind of gone by the wayside in recent seasons, and it's nice to see this tug and pull in a character. Because he says when he walks away from that mom that if you don't think that's what addiction is, then you don't understand it at all. He's basically telling her, this is what I am. And he's saying, you can see that he is saying, I don't want to be this, but I am an addict. And this is what we are, essentially. And so someone did need to, like, that mom did need to be told the truth, not the way Ian said it to her, but she did need to be told the truth because she is an addict and it's not safe for that child to go home with her. You can't give her hope that she's going to, because that's just going to cause a bigger meltdown. She needs to get healthy.
Right.
And I think that the purpose of that patient was obviously the conduit to get to Ian's, not only his addiction, but also get him to do his surgery, because there was obviously both of those things in that one patient. And the other thing
I think now that he knows he can get away with it, and find either a patient's urine or that urine that he purchased online, I don't think he'll stop.
Nope.
I think it's just going to get worse and worse.
Did you see his look at
really
the
bad
end?
happens? Yeah.
That smug smile as he walked, sanitized his hand as he walked away from there, like, ooh.
Yeah.
And he put that, the urine he bought like in his little drawer, just waiting for
right next to his pills.
Does that like stay? Like, I mean, my thought,
I was wondering that too.
How long does the urine stay good?
For a while.
I mean, it's just pee, so I would imagine a while.
Can you imagine having a bottle of pee sitting in your desk drawer though?
It's not like real. It's not like human pee though. It's synthetic.
Yeah.
It's not real.
So
you can buy artificial pee. It's just it's weird.
It's called like monkey. It's called like monkey pee.
Strange.
Seriously.
I know. I believe you. It's weird.
I wonder how he got it so quick. I feel like, I think about me.
That was like freaking next day.
It wasn't even next day. It was like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was.
Life in Atlanta, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely doable. I'm sure you can get something like favored or in like big cities, not like you, but like for big cities. I'm sure there's.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I can think of like 3 ways I can get it delivered to my house right now in Dallas.
I mean, as it was, traffic slowed up by 3 hours. So, I mean, it makes sense that it was right there in Georgia or Atlanta.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
Watching, Kate did pick up on. She did try to talk to Ian about it. She went to his office and was like, "What is going on? You snapped it. You did this. You did this." But I was a little disappointed in Kate that even though it was a horrific insult and I would have had a meltdown, I'm also not robot Kate. So I'm a little disappointed that they built her up in this certain way. I mean, I guess it goes to show that relationships especially with parents and past trauma are never going to leave you. Maybe that's the way they're going to go with this, because that one horrible insult from her father completely derailed her. And you can see that is what her life has been. That's what her relationship with her father is.
And I think, can I say, I don't know if I can say this. Okay. This storyline might make me like her a little bit, because it is going to give her the backstory that we're needing to understand why she is the way she is. And if this has been your life and this is the trauma you've experienced, I can see why you are cold and you are like shut off from everyone. Probably because you feel like everybody's just going to disappoint you anyways.
Well, she's been running from, I think first her dad's disappointment and then the mob. I mean, she's had a very difficult emotional life.
Yeah.
I mean, and all the stuff that she just went through a few months back, you can't, I just, do I love Cade? No, I don't.
Oh, I thought you did.
Like, I love Cade, but I don't like, if she was like leaving, I wouldn't like cry for a week. You know what I mean? Like, I do enjoy her character because I feel like there is a lot of potential in her character. I feel like they could make her a favorite. They could, if they gave her the right storylines and they wrote it correctly, people could like Kate. She's just still closed off. She's had a really hard life, and we really got to see it this week with Ian of look how he spoke to her. That's not the first time he's spoken to her like that. It's not. You could tell.
Yeah.
It's not. And that's, to me, that's emotional abuse. Like, so she's been dealing with this. Maureen's really trying to bite her tongue right now. It's really fun to watch.
It's because of the conversation that's happening right outside my podcasting door. I will agree with you, Jeanette, it does make me like her. And Amanda, I didn't know that you didn't love her, actually. I thought you did love her. So I
think that's a very miscommunicated thing, probably by my fault.
Yes.
But no, I don't. It's not like
she's trying to make up for how much we didn't like her. So it's probably our fault that she's doing that. So
I'm holding on to her because I see something. I see so much potential in her character that I want her to stick around. I don't necessarily want her with Conrad. It's not that big of a deal to me.
I think that's where I don't want that at all. But I could her as a character standalone, maybe. But I still don't want her with Conrad.
This episode is the first one that I saw her as something other than ugh.
Yes, me too.
Well, that's because Conrad wasn't there at all.
I know. I don't like seeing her with and it's not just because that's my Conrad, because I want to see him with somebody. I don't like him.
It doesn't feel right
at all. It doesn't. Right. But I think her running, I think it comes from that's her choice. She's done things since her childhood to choose to keep running so she couldn't get attached because she had such a painful childhood. And I think if they dig a little deeper into it, because this is the first episode, they wrote her as being human. She's been very robotic. And that's the other reason, very robotic, very cold. And that's why I don't like her. That's why I can't stand her. But this episode, she softened. In this episode, she had more human emotion. She had more of a backstory that we needed, I think. I think digging into her childhood is a really good way to get us connected with her, because most of the fandom does not like her. So I think that's the right way to go. I think that they really did a big step this week with that. And I enjoyed seeing her seeing her react to Ian is like what Ian said is, I was like, oh my gosh, you don't say that. But watching her reaction to it is what made it be like, all right, dude, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Her reaction to it. And I think that made me connect with her a little bit this week.
I agree.
What about my boy Devin this week?
His hair was on point this week. I've been waiting this entire episode to say that. It was on point.
Noticed it too. I noticed his hair as well. So it was.
Same. And what else I noticed? I really do think that the writers of the show, they have to be listening to us, right? Because didn't we just say that we needed Devin back in the ER doing doctoring?
Yep.
And here he was.
And we got it. I'm so excited.
I was so happy.
I loved it.
And one thing that made me mad though is Dr. Feldman. Chill out on your I mean, Devin is trying to figure out what's going on with this patient. He thinks that she's been misdiagnosed. And he's just trying to dig. He's trying to figure this out. And yes, it was painful for her, but it's not like he was doing anything without talking to her and getting her permission and her desire to figure this out as well. And when Irving's over there, basically telling me he didn't always talk about that, he's not good at this anymore because he's so far removed in his research. I'm thinking, you just wait, Dr. Feldman, because I bet he's right.
And he was.
He was. Leave Devin alone. He learned from the best. He learned from Conrad. Okay, he knows about diagnosing someone. I don't know. I was so mad.
I was frustrated with how Irving said it to him, and I think Irving recognized that, and that's why he apologized for it later. But I do kind of agree with what his sentiment was. Because from what I've gone through, doctors have warned me it's going to be bad. I was not prepared for how bad it was going to be. And some of the things that I agreed to, I don't know that I would have had I known how bad it was going to be. And I think that's what Irving's point was.
I mean,
so I relate to that on a personal level. I think that the doctors, they want, certainly Devin, because he's an excellent doctor. He wants the best for his patients, and that is diagnosing them correctly, getting them their answers. But I think, at least from what we saw and his desire to get that, I don't think he was clear enough about how painful that procedure was going to be. It was, and what he said to Irving was, and if Irving wasn't a part of that conversation that he had with this girl, what he said to Irving was, she wants answers and so do I. That to me is very, well, we're just going to we're going to do whatever it takes, no matter what. And I would have responded harshly as well to that, because look at the pain she's currently going through. And she even said to Devin, I can't take anymore.
Yeah. Which I agree with, but at the same time, like if we hadn't dug into this, she would have been misdiagnosed forever. I mean, if she'd been left up to like Dr. Feldman, and she wouldn't have ever gotten better. And so crazy that this thing that she has, the myasthenia gravis or whatever, I actually have a friend who has that. It's like a super like rare like something.
Oh wow. Because I've never even heard of it.
Somebody I used to work
muscular disease.
Yeah. So yeah, somebody I used to work with that's what she has too. So.
And it's crazy that there's a lung cancer that can mimic the exact same things as that. And the only indicator is it doesn't respond. Here's my thing. Now, Irving pointed out 6 neurologists have worked with her. Yeah. Devin's the first one who realized her treatments were making her worse.
I think, yeah.
That was weird. I mean, these are like
those
no
are
capable
bad
doctors.
I mean, granted, my doctors missed all my signs for almost 2 years, but still.
Yeah. I think that happens probably so often, unfortunately. Like
it does.
Yeah.
And I think, so while I agree with what Irving was saying, I think it needed to be said, because I do think that Devin probably was looking at it more scientifically of, no, we got to figure out what this is at all costs. When there has to be, he needs to return a little bit more to his human side, where it was care, compassion, as well as getting answers. Because I mean, he's still compassionate, but it was more of a, we're going to do whatever it takes to get you an answer. And sometimes a patient is not able or ready to do whatever it takes to get an answer.
Yeah.
And I think that was the point of it. So, and Irving did say, I apologize for coming at you harshly. I'm not sorry for what I said, but I do apologize for the way I said it. And Devin said, I'm not going to apologize for what I said either. And I think that's exactly as it should be. If you are a doctor, you need to be confident in what you're doing. You need to stand up for where you're going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if he didn't, then I wouldn't have trusted the next time either.
Yeah, agreed. The other thing that was like, it was fun to watch Leela and Devin return to, fun Leela and Devin. Like they had that
their little sweet moment in the apartment. I loved it. It was a little steamy, like for the resident. I was like, hey. I mean, it wasn't like steamy in like in a bad way. They didn't show anything or anything, but it was like, I don't know, it was kind of hot.
I agree.
I like when he was like, oh, I just solved a misdiagnosed case from 6 years ago and found a super rare cancer. No biggie.
It was cute and it was bantery and it was like, I don't know. It was just it was the Devin and Leela that like I fell in love with as a couple. Like that chemistry was like back at the end of this episode, and I liked it.
They enjoyed each other again, and they actually like being. It's not this tense filled of what argument are we going to get into now? It was just sincerely happy to be with each other. Now, the other thing I want to point out, like Leela's congratulated thing was, I just performed my first solo surgery. Isn't she the chief of residency for surgeons? Because she has Devin's office now with the shower. They pointed it out in the beginning.
Yeah, but
she's never performed a solo surgery yet?
No, you wouldn't.
Not until you're probably not. I mean,
not
a solo one. How can you be in charge of all the residents if you've never how can you be in charge of all the surgical residents if you've never done a solo surgery? You still have to be supervised.
You're still learning.
You still have to have an attending, which I mean, she still kind of had an attending. I mean, we hadn't even mentioned that. Dr. Nolan was there, guys. Like finally. For like a brief moment. And he was there.
He was looking for a bidet.
He didn't even recommend a good bidet. I'm like, oh my God.
First of all, like he's like totally not related.
But I loved how Devin knew, because he even told her, he said, if you want to do your own, see Nolan. Like he'll let you do it.
Yeah. And then when he's like, you failed, and he was going to scrub in, he was going to take charge because he's good at what he does. He's just goofy. But then she's like, get back to your bidet. Gladly. Back down. So I like that. But I want to get back to the what level do you start doing surgeries on your own? Because I thought when you're the chief of residents, when you are like the medical doctors, like Conrad's physician, Devin's physician, you are in charge of them and you are their boss. So you should be able to do things on your own. So I don't understand why
you're still a resident though. Like
you're still a resident. Yeah. They haven't passed their board yet.
It's a 5th year resident that when you're a chief resident, like you would be a 5th year. So it's your last year of residency.
It's your last year, but no.
So is it different for surgeons than it is for medical doctors? Because Conrad was running things by himself, and so was Devin.
Conrad.
So was Devin.
I think they have more freedom because it's not.
You're not.
That's what I'm saying. So
not
it's different for
cutting.
surgical and
Because
medical
they
doctors
might-
then.
Yeah,
they might
probably.
I mean, even though they're doing this stuff, they might still like, I don't know, maybe you still have to have like some sort of attending, like signing off on stuff, like, which might be possible. I feel like I need to research this, but I'm trying to remember.
You see, Gray's is all about surgical interns
They're
and
all
surgery. So that's like what we know the best. but with regular doctors, I don't know. I would assume
She's not
that
an intern
it was
though.
a resident. They do residents too, interns and residents, surgical though. It's all surgical in Grey's Anatomy. There's no like medical. There is medical doctors, but we don't like ever see them or acknowledge them in the show. So I know about the surgery like levels of how they do it, but I'm not really sure about just regular MDs.
Okay. I just thought that was weird that.
Okay.
To me, I think like surgery is a lot more riskier and technical than doctoring is.
But I just thought that you wouldn't want someone training other residents and other surgical people. You wouldn't want them to be trained by someone who's never been able to do it on their own. Like that's where my head was at. So it didn't make sense.
I think they can do it on their own. Like Leela could do it on her own, but I think a lot of surgeons
she has to work with someone else. That was why
they have to be in the room. They have to be in the room. She can do it by herself, technically. Like physically, she could do it by herself.
Mm-hmm.
But still, for this last year, she has to have at least somebody watching her.
Okay, got it.
So, I mean, that's because she hasn't passed her boards yet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think it was nice to see, you know, they were all working separately on different patients, but Leela had the mom, she was taking care of the spleen, the Ian and Billy were working on the baby. Cade was their head doctor, and Devin was calling back to Conrad. So Devin and Conrad are the only ones who were kind of separate, but
yeah. Well, I mean, like, and that's usually how it is, but it looks like next week, like we're gonna see like they're all like kind of working together. It appears like on the same patient.
Yeah.
The guy who has a miracle drug. At first I thought it was a cancer patient, but he says death.
Yeah.
We can cure death. Like
the preview's real vague. Like I'm curious where we're going like with it. And the guy, like, I mean, are we supposed to like, oh, he seems like he's probably someone important. I don't know if that's true, but just the way they kind of presented him.
Well groomed, he had nice clothes on, and he was approaching Devin with a miracle drug. So he's gotta be someone connected.
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's making him sick, so we get to see everybody. And I thought Belle was supposed to be back on the 5th episode.
I kind of remember someone saying that, but I never read that anywhere. So
I think he's gone for 5 episodes.
Oh, so he'll be back the 6th episode.
Maybe
is the wedding the 6th episode?
Yeah, I think so.
Soon, right?
It's the 100th episode. I know that.
I think it's the 6th. Because I was the one who read the article, and I thought it said he would be out for 5 episodes, and I think I thought, oh, he'll be back.
Maybe he'll be back next week. Maybe he'll like come back at the end or something.
I think they would have had him in the preview.
But maybe it's like a surprise. Like, you know, it's not like a surprise, but like, you know, at the end, maybe he like comes back or something.
Yeah.
But we do have Kit back, and Kit has been absent. So she's back. The whole team is there. And it doesn't look like we're going to focus a whole lot on Kate and Conrad. So I'm solid with that. I don't want to see that. So I think that is it on the resident. Next week it does look like it's gonna. I mean, obviously the preview, they want to dramatize and they want to make it like, ooh, come back and watch. But it does look like it's going to get heated. They aren't sure. And I love this side of Conrad. The diagnostic side is my favorite side of Conrad, where he just figures things out and he works and he works and he works. I love watching that. So we're going to get all the good stuff next week, it looks like. And I think that that's pretty solid on 911 and the resident. Tune in on Sundays for our Fox night, which you will get today. Tuesdays is our NBC night, where you'll get our One Chicago episodes, and Wednesdays we are back with an ABC night, Station 19 and Gray. So keep checking those out. Look at our Facebook groups, 911 Family Fan Club and the Resident Chastain Family Fan Club. We'd love to hear from you. So reach out. There's conversations going on there. There's always posts. We're trying to keep it entertaining and fun. We need you to help us do that, though, because we can't do the work for our millions of groups so regularly. Please, for the love of God, help us have conversations there. Let's talk there. On that note, we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.